you're not losing your life. You just didn't realize you're playing wrong. Have you ever stopped to think that maybe the problem is not your life, but the way you're playing it? It sounds harsh, I know. But the truth is that many people with absurd potential live as supporting actors in their own history. And the worst, without realizing it. Lack of awareness makes you accept low standards, automatic decisions, and a routine that has nothing to do with your true purpose. There's a dangerous illusion that keeps you stuck, the idea that you're in control, when in fact you're just reacting. Reacting to what is expected of you, to what you have been taught, to what seems easier. And in this process, their identity becomes distorted, their self-worth weakened, and their inner peace increasingly distant. You move, but you don't move forward. He makes an effort, but does not evolve. But hey, race the turning point. What if you started to see the game differently? What if, instead of acting as a pawn, you took on the role of king with clarity, strategy, and intent? Throughout this content, you will understand how to develop mental control, strengthen your emotional balance, and neutralize your inner saboteur. Because in the end, it's not about having more power. It's about finally knowing how to use what you already have. You may even think you're in control of your life, but let me tell you something. In all honesty, most of your decisions aren't so much yours. They are influences, patterns, beliefs that have been installed over time, almost like an invisible autopilot. And the most curious? You play this game every day without realizing it. Lack of awareness doesn't just distract you, it puts you at a disadvantage. It's like going into a match without knowing the rules. You move, you make decisions, you react to situations. But without clarity, each choice becomes a shot in the dark. And hey, race the point, it's not about doing more, it's about understanding better. Because action without intention is not progress, it is just movement in disguise. And movement, by itself, does not guarantee evolution. If you stop for a second and observe your routine, you will realize how many decisions are reactive. You answer messages without thinking, accept things you didn't even want, follow paths you never really chose. This is because your mind control is not yet sharp. And while that doesn't change, the game goes on. It's just that you're not playing, you're being played. Now tell me, is this in line with what you expect, or want me to adjust something in style or approach? Now think with me, if your life were a chessboard, who do you think it would be? Most people live as if they were a pawn, advancing little, following invisible orders, sacrificing themselves without question. But the truth is different, you are the king. The problem is that, without self-knowledge, you forget your own value and start to position yourself as a disposable piece. The king is not the piece that moves the most, but it is the most important in the game. This means that your identity is not in how much you do, but in how much you understand your role. When you start to develop awareness about who you are and what really matters, your decisions change. You stop acting on impulse and start acting with purpose, and that completely changes the course of your life. A simple exercise: observe where you are treating yourself as a pawn. Are you saying yes when you mean no? Are you accepting less than you deserve? This directly hurts your self-worth. Taking on the role of king requires emotional balance and a certain strategic coolness, not in the sense of becoming aloof, but of stopping sabotaging yourself to please others. Now tell me, is this path aligned with what you want, or want to adjust something in tone, depth, or style? There are people who pride themselves on always being busy, but rarely ask themselves if they are going in the right direction. Being on the move gives the feeling of progress, I know. But without clarity, this becomes just a race in circles. It's like trying to get to a destination in a hurry but not knowing the address. In the end, fatigue comes and the result does not. The difference between acting on impulse and acting with strategy lies in the intention behind each step. When you don't stop to think, any opportunity seems valid, any path seems good. But those who have a conscience choose better where they put energy. It's not about doing everything, it's about doing what really matters for your purpose. Want a practical example? Before you make an important decision, make it a habit to ask yourself, does this bring me closer to who I want to be? If the answer is vague, beware. This could just be your inner saboteur pushing you into comfortable distractions. Developing mind control is precisely learning to pause before acting, and that changes everything. If you don't know what you're defending, anything becomes a priority, and that's one of life's greatest silent dangers. Without a well-defined center, you begin to react to the world instead of positioning yourself in it. And here comes something essential: your identity needs to be clear, or you will live trying to please everyone and forgetting about yourself. In the end, he loses energy, focus, and, above all, his inner peace. Being clear about what is non-negotiable in your life completely changes the game. Your values, your purpose, your limits. All of this works as a kind of mental shield. When you know what you protect, your decisions become firmer, your emotional balance increases, and you stop getting lost in unnecessary conflicts. It's as if the world becomes less noisy. A straightforward exercise: write down 3 things you don't give up. It could be time, respect, or growth. Now observe your routine and see if your actions are in line with it. If they are not, it is a sign that your mind control is still giving way to the outside. And, without realizing it, the inner saboteur begins to dictate his choices. Seeking external validation is like trying to fill a leaky bucket. No matter how much you receive applause, it never seems enough. At first, it even seems harmless: a compliment here, an approval there. But, little by little, this becomes dependence. And when your identity begins to be based on the gaze of others, your inner peace is held hostage by something you don't control. The problem is that the world is too unstable to sustain its self-worth. Today you are praised, tomorrow ignored, and if your conscience is not firm, it dismantles you. People who live like this end up making decisions that have nothing to do with their purpose, just to maintain an image. And, deep down, this wears out more than any criticism. Want to start changing that? Simple, but not easy practice: doing good things without telling anyone. It sounds silly, but it strengthens your mind control and reduces the need for approval. Another powerful practice is to limit time on social networks. That's a stage, not reality. The more you reconnect with your inner clarity, the less you need external applause. There are people who seem to be winning in life, but only on the outside. Inside, the scenario is different: anxiety, emptiness, a constant feeling of disconnection. This happens when external success is not aligned with your purpose. You conquer things, but you lose yourself in the process, and without awareness, it can go on for years without being noticed. The world values visible results, but ignores what is happening internally. And therein lies the danger: you begin to measure your self-worth by external metrics, money, status, recognition, while your inner peace is set aside. It's like building an empire on top of unstable ground. 1 hour, it takes its toll. A clear sign of this is when you hit something you really wanted, and yet he does not feel satisfied. This is not ingratitude, it is a lack of internal clarity. Therefore, an important practice is to review your achievements. Does this really reflect who I am? This type of question strengthens your self-knowledge and prevents the inner saboteur from taking you down paths that seem good, but are not really yours. There's a voice inside you that doesn't scream, it whispers. And precisely for this reason, it goes unnoticed. It's that subtle doubt, that I'll do it later, that I'm not that good. This is your inner saboteur, and it knows exactly where to play. Without awareness, you begin to believe that these thoughts are yours, when, in fact, they are old patterns repeating themselves. The curious thing is that this saboteur doesn't want to destroy you, he wants to keep you safe. The problem is that this security keeps you small, stuck, far from your purpose. It prevents you from acting clearly, distorts your identity, and weakens your self-worth. And when you realize it, you're already avoiding opportunities, postponing decisions, and hiding behind well-constructed excuses. A A practical way to deal with this is to externalize this voice. Name it, as if it were a character. When a limiting thought arises, ask, is this fact or is it just my saboteur talking? This simple exercise strengthens your mental control and creates a space between you and thought. And it is in this space that true emotional balance is born. Before you try to organize your life, you need to organize your mind. It seems obvious, but almost no one really does it. Most want different results without changing their thought pattern. And without mind control, you keep reacting to the same triggers, falling into the same cycles. Leading yourself starts when you take responsibility for your own conscience. Internal leadership is not about eliminating negative thoughts, but about not being overwhelmed by them. It is to develop enough clarity to observe what goes on in your mind without identifying with everything. A powerful habit here is writing, taking 5 minutes a day to unload thoughts on paper. This organizes your identity, reduces mental noise, and strengthens your emotional balance. Another simple and effective practice is intentional silence. Spending a few minutes without stimuli, without cell phone, without music, just you and your thoughts. At first, it may be uncomfortable. The inner saboteur loves noise, but over time, it brings a real sense of inner peace. And that's when you start acting with more intention, not on impulse. Many people spend their lives seeking power, more money, more influence, more control over everything. But here's a point that few realize: without clarity, power only amplifies internal chaos. You even conquer things, but you don't know what to do with them. And worse, it can end up moving even further away from its purpose and its own identity. Those who seek clarity first, on the other hand, build a solid foundation. He understands what he wants, why he wants it, and even what he doesn't want. This completely changes the game, because your actions start to have intention. And when there is intention, there is direction. Power, in this case, becomes a consequence, not an objective. And this brings something that power alone never delivers: inner peace. A practical example: before setting goals, define criteria. Instead of asking, how do I earn more? Ask, what makes sense to me? This type of reflection strengthens your self-knowledge and prevents the inner saboteur from leading you to pursue things that have no real value to you. In the end, it's not about having more, it's about knowing exactly why. The world doesn't have to attack you directly to bring you down, just touch your right wounds. And that's why self-knowledge is not just personal development, it's a form of protection. When you don't understand your own insecurities, triggers, and patterns, other people or situations end up using it against you without even realizing it. Think about the practice: someone makes a criticism and you react disproportionately. Or else he avoids opportunities because, deep down, he believes he is not capable. This has nothing to do with the world, it has to do with what has not yet been looked at within you. Developing awareness about these areas gives you clarity and strengthens your mental control, preventing the outside from dictating your reactions. A simple tool: start observing repetitive patterns in your life. Similar relationships, similar decisions, results that are repeated. This is no coincidence. Writing down these cycles is already a powerful step. Books like The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle help develop this perception. And the more you know yourself, the more you protect your identity, your self-worth, and your path with intention. Most people don't live. He reacts to the mood of others, to circumstances, to the pressures of everyday life. When you realize it, the day is over and you've just been pushed around. This happens because there's a lack of awareness in the present moment, and without that, there is no real choice, only automatic repetition. Living by decision requires something that few develop: clarity about what really matters. When you have this, your actions stop being impulsive responses and become movements with intention. You don't respond right away, you think. You don't accept everything you choose. In this small space between stimulus and response is where true mind control lives. A practical exercise: start delaying your reactions. Received a message that bothered you? Wait 10 minutes before responding. It sounds simple, but it breaks the automatic pattern and strengthens your emotional balance. Over time, you exit survival mode and enter driving mode. And this completely changes your relationship with your purpose in your own life. At the end of the day, it's not about winning the game, it's about not losing yourself while playing, because you can conquer everything out there and still feel empty inside. When your mind is disorganized, your purpose confused, and your identity fragmented, any victory loses its meaning. And that's where the real priority comes in protecting what's essential. Protecting your mind means filtering what you consume on a daily basis. Not all information deserves space in your head. Developing awareness about this strengthens your mental control and preserves your inner peace. Sometimes growth is not in adding more things, but in removing excesses, including thoughts that aren't yours. A practical step: create a mental protection ritual. It can be 10 minutes of silence, reading, or daily reflection. Books like Who Thinks Gets Rich by Napoleon Hill help reinforce this strategic mindset. The more you develop self-knowledge, the more you strengthen your self-worth and live with intention, because in the end, who knows who it is? It is difficult to lose. Now let me ask you a direct question: are you living consciously? Or just reacting to what happens? Because after everything you've seen here, it's hard to ignore how small decisions completely shape your destiny. The point is not perfection, it is consciousness. It is realizing when you are sabotaging yourself, when you are acting without clarity, when you are giving up your own self-worth. What if you were more intentional from today? What if you started to protect your mind, align your actions with your purpose, and develop a deeper level of self-knowledge? You don't have to change everything at once. It starts with a different choice, a more controlled reaction, a moment of pause. This is how mind control is built in detail, on a daily basis. Now the most important reflection you will continue to play as a pawn. Or finally take his place as king. The decision is not in the future, it is in the next actions you take today. If this content made sense to you, then it doesn't stop here. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and continue this process, because the more you develop your identity, your emotional balance, and your inner peace, the less the world controls you. And the more you take on the game of your own life.